Well, hello to all the leaders in tourism, our VIPs, exhibitors, buyers, media, and last but not least to the speakers, wherever you are in the world, to the official welcome of Africa Travel Week Virtual. My name is Tami Nkadimeng, and today I'm joined by two panelists. Firstly, the Managing Director of Reed Exhibitions, Carol Weaving, and to my far left, by Alderman James Foss, who's in charge of economic opportunities and tourism for the city of Cape Town. We hope you stay tuned and you enjoy our conversation as we proceed. James, I'm going to start with you and ask you, why is it important to the city of Cape Town to be involved with Africa Travel Week?
Well, firstly, welcome to all the people tuning in from across the world. It's great to see you, albeit virtually. So we know that tourism made the world go round. And of course, with COVID-19, it turned the world upside down. So as the city of Cape Town, we have introduced a 10-point tourism strategy that really speaks about driving demand that will make business sense. And of course, the Africa Travel Week and World Travel Market are really signature events for the city. These are the events that really showcase Cape Town at its best, where exhibitors, buyers, and the tourism and travel industry can come together and see what Cape Town has to offer. Cape Town is the go-to city in Africa for travel and trade. And so we really pride ourselves to be that host city that can bring people together from the industry, and we know that we are finding ourselves in the next normal, so we need to do things differently. So it's not business as usual, and certainly this is an event that we always look forward to because it really brings thought leaders together. So there's a lot of conversations about how do we take tourism to the next level. We know globally that tourism is going to be a lot different from previously, even before COVID. We need to look at ways to do much more conversion so that we can market our destinations in a way that will reconnect travelers with the destination so that we can reimagine the value proposition. And so it's really an important sector for us as a city. And of course, tourism employs thousands of people. So it makes business sense for us as a city government to be behind these type of events that can bring the tourism industry together, and specifically around the new products, the new experiences that will emerge in a post-COVID world, so that we use innovation and technology as a driving force to make sure that there's much more conversion from marketing to actual bookings, from marketing to people taking up offers, buying products and services, and also to break down the barriers so that people can see tourism as an opportunity to do business and to do business differently. So it's an exciting opportunity as we reimagine tourism, and specifically for the city of Cape Town, as we implement our tourism 10-point strategy that speaks to our domestic, our regional, and our international value proposition, how people see us from an African perspective, because Cape Town is a proudly African city. We've got a lot of connectivity into the continent, and of course it's important that we also showcase what Africa means for the world, and the diversity of Cape Town's tourism landscape is so different from other destinations. But it is important that you reinvent, reimagine, and I think it was a good opportunity for us as a city government, working with our partners to find the next normal, so that we can just make sense of it all and use tourism as an opportunity to showcase.
Well, James has made it very difficult to not be galvanized about Cape Town, but I would love to ask you, Carol, why was it important for you to then partner with the city of Cape Town for this for ATW?
Well, good morning, Tami, and good morning to all of our delegates and our exhibitors, and specifically our international buyers that are joining us from all over the world. I mean, we're doing things a little bit differently, and we have the virtual event. But obviously, I think, in terms of working with the city of Cape Cape Town. We've had a wonderful partnership. We're now in its 8th year of Africa Travel Week, which comprises World Travel Market Africa and ILTM, which is the luxury segment. And just in 2019 alone, the value of deals that were written on the show floor during the 4-day show was $350 million US.
Wow.
So I think the economic impact is obviously self-explanatory, and I think it's really time that we start reigniting travel and tourism on the African continent. And Cape Town's the ideal location to do that. When we surveyed our international buyers, who are obviously the buyers that are buying South Africa's and selling it as a product, they 100% said they wanted to come to Cape Town, and they still would like to come to Cape Town, obviously, with COVID. Here we are in a virtual setting. And I think, that is really one of the main reasons. Everybody really wants to come to Cape Town. They want to sell Cape Town. They want to sell the rest of South Africa and the rest of the continent.
That's brilliant. So you've just mentioned COVID, and I don't think we can go, with any conversation without speaking about COVID these days. I'll stick with you, Carol, and ask you this question. Why was the decision of a blended approach of Africa Travel Week taken?
Yeah, well, of course, the ideal world would have been to have a live event in this beautiful city. Of course, everything being equal with COVID and obviously the travel challenges that everybody's experiencing, we said, well, we still need to have an event. We still need to connect the travel and tourism industry. And I think specifically at this time of year is an ideal time, as globally we start getting ahead of it, the vaccines are coming through, that now's a good time for forward bookings to forge those business relationships for next year and beyond. So for us, it was absolutely a no-brainer that we were going to hold an event, albeit virtual. But of course now, the nice thing about what we're going to be doing in terms of blended is we do have a live in the city in September, which is really about connecting buyers and sellers yet again. But that will be the live component. We're really all about the virtual event, business matchmaking, buyer-seller meetings. I think we've had 3,000 appointments have already been made and 22,000 recommendations, which is huge.
Fantastic.
59 countries represented. So we're really excited, and over 250 international buyers. So all of those people will be having meetings. We've got 170 speakers talking over 40 different content sessions. So really an action-packed program, specifically a lot on content and a lot of really important topical issues. COVID being one of them, recovery, diversity, racism. Responsible tourism. So those are just sort of a taste of some of the content that will be coming up as well.
If you're not excited about what Carol has said, I don't know what will excite you. So we really hope that you will stay tuned and watch all these speakers and the topics speaking about the future. I love that you spoke about thinking forward, forward thinking. What are we going to do in the future? We can't focus on the here and now. And just speaking about the future, James, what can we look forward to in tourism in City of Cape Town? Let's start with, what we can look forward to in 2021 for the rest of the year and coming up to 2022.
So, of course, we need to be very strategic now around our key source markets, albeit local, regional, or international. So we know that domestic tourism will restart, and we're already seeing very positive forward bookings coming out of our domestic and regional key source markets, and also international. So we've got a lot of airlines now resuming their flights back to Cape Town, and that's very important. We're a long-haul destination, so we work very hard on building those global connections. But leisure travel, that's an important one for the city, because if you look at Cape Town's tourism landscape, mountains, beaches, natural landscape, the infrastructure, the connectivity, everything that we've got to offer, cuisine, culture, heritage, those are the things that the future traveller will look at. And so Cape Town really is a diverse tourism destination that can offer so much to a traveller, local and international, right? And so the leisure traveller is going to be an important one as domestic tourism restarts. Also your business traveller. That's a very important one for Cape Town because we are big on conferences, events, incentive travel and so on. So the MICE industry is a very important one for us, and of course it's going to be much different. A lot of the virtual and hybrid type of hosting of events and so on. But at the business travel, if you mix it with leisure, it's pleasure. And that's going to be the future
I
traveler.
like that.
So now you've got remote working as a new niche market.
Right.
The digital nomad, it's a tourist. They contribute to your visitor economy. So those are the new markets that we're looking at, because we know that the needs of the future traveler will change. They will look at more fun things to do.
That's it.
And mix it with business.
That's it.
And so we are really going to make a big success of this new trend, remote working. We will be advertising Cape Town, local and international, existing key source markets and new key source markets that will emerge in a post-COVID world, to entice those travelers to come to Cape Town and to do their work from here. But also, it will be a younger traveler, so they can mix pleasure with business, so that they can spend more time and money in our destination, because tourism is a business for us. So that's why we are looking at ways to keep the traveler here for much longer, so that they can spend more time in our economy. So it's going to be leisure, it's going to be business, and it's going to be remote working, so those new niche markets, but with a strong focus on community travel, so that we can showcase our cuisine and our culture, because those things are very unique to Cape Town. You can find it nowhere else in the world. So, and we know that tourism is going to be a very competitive space going forward in the future. A lot of cities and destinations are going to fight for their fair share, and so we will just have to do things differently. We'll have to step up and use these opportunities, the new trends that will come. You spoke about responsible tourism. That's going to be equally important, because travelers will look at the safety of the destination. They will look at the health situation in that destination. They will look at responsible practices. And so I talk about responsible places and responsible pricing.
Yep.
So those are the two things that we want to use as part of our new responsible tourism approach, so that we can showcase Cape Town as a responsible tourism destination. A lot of lessons learned from the Day Zero experience, where we had to do things differently and we had to implement measures to stabilize and to adapt. And now, very similar to the COVID era we find ourselves in, let's find those new ways of doing business, and let's find ourselves not only in a recovery phase, but in a readiness phase. And that's what Cape Town is demonstrating with these new connections with key source markets, direct flights, even the cruise opportunity is showing a lot of positive opportunity for Cape Town. We've got a dedicated cruise terminal, so we are very soon going to establish a cruise initiative in Cape Town. We will be working with the private sector to get cruise back, because we see it as a big opportunity for our city. So those are the things that we are looking at towards the future, so that we can follow the trends, but also implement those responsible measures and practices, and even pricing. It's a big deal for future travelers. We must never market our cities or our products as cheap. So it's not about, making it us a cheap destination. We're still a quality destination, but that we be our value and that we are responsible in how we do our business. So it's an exciting opportunity going forward, and we work very closely with the private sector, because as a city government, we want to put the pieces together, so that the private sector, the experts, can tell us these are the new trends, those are the opportunities, and then as a city government we will go in and we'll do the marketing, we'll help with the conversion, because that's what is important, because people can market so many of their products, but if there's not a conversion, an actual booking, a buyer that's making money out of the deal, you're going to go nowhere. So that's why World Travel Market is such an important event for us, because it brings all the buyers and the exhibitors together in one place, so that we can do business, so that we can make travel turn the world around again. So it's really an exciting time.
Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, sorry,
Fantastic.
if you don't
No,
mind.
that's
I
fine.
think just to add to that, and just to show the alignment, of course, is that we do have IBTM, which is business tourism sessions and content sessions, because that's part of our big global portfolio. And then obviously we have the Africa Tourism Investment Summit. And really what that is it's a pitching session where people are looking for investment into their tourism and infrastructure projects in Africa or in South Africa. And I think it's really important that they're able then to obviously build these infrastructure developments and then obviously start attracting additional tourists. So you're covering investment, you're covering business tourism, all of the key components, and it's really critical right now. And adventure, exactly like you're saying, but fun adventure tourism is huge, and specifically in South Africa and in Cape Town.
Yeah. So I think responsibility is clearly a key word, and that would definitely go globally, you know, with travelers, regardless of what they're traveling for, be it a business or leisure. You know, James, I'm going to just tease you a little bit. You spoke about the young or youthful traveler, and I'd love to believe that I fit into that. And I don't know if it was you speaking about the young or the youth, or if it was the value proposition of Cape Town that you sold, that obviously I feel like you're preaching to the converted. I love Cape Town. By the way, for everybody watching, we are coming from Cape Town, from the Gold Restaurant. So in having said that, one of the things I really looked forward to for Africa Travel Week was catching my first flight to be here in 15 months.
Wow.
So I'm pretty happy about that. So thank you to Africa Travel Week for allowing me that opportunity. What are you looking forward to most about Africa Travel Week?
I think the investment summit is going to be an important one because, you know, a lot of destinations are now going to invest heavily in tourism infrastructure that will drive demand to their destinations. Because many places will now sit with an under demand in certain segments.
Sure.
And so I would like to see what's the accommodation sector going to do, what is the aviation sector going to do, and many others. So I'm looking forward to the discussions that will come out of that summit, so that as government we know what private sector is expecting from us, and vice versa, because it's going to be a partnership. And I talk about the 3 C's. We need to demonstrate care towards the industry, because travelers and destinations need to be taken care of, so that we really nurture our recovery into a readiness. Because I've said to my team in the city, there is no more recovery, we are now ready. Tourism ready.
We're in it.
We're in it.
We're in it.
We must make sure that we instill then confidence in the industry by making the right choices. We don't have the luxury to experiment too much, that we make the right choices in terms of the type of investments we make, so that there's confidence in safety, in health, in aviation, in mobility, and products and services, etc. So the confidence, but also the consistency.
That's it.
Because that's where we now need to work together to make sense of it all, to establish that next normal.
And sense of it all as quick as possible, right?
To adapt quickly. That was the most important part of it. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to. And of course the new products and experiences.
Yeah.
Because I was amazed to see how the industry just changed their way of doing things. There's so many wonderful examples, and we've showcased them throughout even the restrictions when we had 2020, all the different levels of lockdown. We, as a city, we worked with the industry to pivot and to come up with new ways of doing business. And so I'm looking forward to see what's the buyers and exhibitors going to showcase, because there's so much new things out there. And that's what amazes me about this industry, the resilience, the longevity. So I'm looking forward to see the new products and experiences and what the future investments look like, what we would need to make as city governments.
Yeah. We were really pressed into innovation and thinking out the box, which is fantastic. And sometimes that's all we need, is that kick and that push in the right direction. So speaking about the future, Carol, what can we look forward to when it comes to Africa Travel Week 2022? Because that's fast approaching, right?
Of course. And then straight after the virtual event, what we are doing this year, which is I think obviously different to every other year, is the content will still be available online for another 30 days for those people that were unable to come and listen.
Oh, fantastic.
During the virtual event. So over and above, I mean, I'm just as excited as James is about the investment conference, but also we've got a lot of new exhibitors, a lot of new countries coming in. We've got a lot of new buyers. And that's really exciting, because I don't think it's just about repeat buyers that are selling the destination. It's also about new buyers and them experiencing what we've got on offer, which is really exciting. And also with the virtual event, we're making sure we're open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. so that we're accommodating all the different time slots.
Yes.
Because, of course, we have buyers from all over the world. And I think what's really interesting this year is we've got a very good mix, Europe, East, West, Americas. But funny enough, we've got more buyers this year from the Americas than we've actually had during the live event, which just goes to show that they're there, they're ready, and they're waiting, and they're wanting to sell the country as a destination. And then going into later in the year, we've got ATW Connect live in the city. Now, that's really exciting because it actually means our buyers are going to be flown to Cape Town and to South Africa in September. And we're going to be doing product destination training. We're going to be doing familiarization tours. They can do the pre and post, so they get to experience all of the offerings that James was referring to earlier, which is fantastic. And then we're going to have a conference. We've got travel awards. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. And for us, the future is hybrid. It is 365, and it's not to be seen to be replacing a live event. It's an addition, it's an enhancement. And what it enables us to do is to give you that content on a 365. We've done so many masterclasses, webinars, and I know a lot of people are going, oh gosh, another webinar. But at the same time, there's content that they can watch in their own time. And that's the beauty. And I think what we're really excited about is having that live component in September as a prequel to the big live event in April 2022, which will still see a virtual component because there's going to be people that maybe can't come for whatever reason. They can still join us virtually. Therefore, that's a better return on investment for our exhibitors and our products. So I think all in all, it's actually a win-win, which is good news.
It really is. And I like that you say it's accessible. There's a saying that says every book has its moment. You could buy a book now and put on the shelf, and in 10 years' time, when you read it, it all of a sudden makes sense, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So every content piece at the moment has its moment, and people can just watch it when it makes a sense to them. Look, I could sit here and chat to you guys the entire time about tourism, but we need to bring it to a close. So, James, what are your closing remarks? Besides you telling me I can come join all those experiences in September.
Yes, I think as closing remarks, it would be to say to World Travel Market, we look forward to hosting you. Cape Town is really a city that prides itself on hosting these world-class events. It will be a little bit different this time around, but I think out of the different, we will find ways of making sense of it all and actually maybe see a new opportunity. So I think it's great, and so I wish you all well. These are interesting times ahead.
Yeah.
Of course, the world's going to be much different. We must obviously, as the tourism and travel industry, lead from the front.
That's it.
Today we met with travel and tourism role players in the city, industry bodies, where we just reminded ourselves that as locals and visitors, we need to play our part to keep our destinations safe by practicing the COVID protocols, by adhering to all the regulations. It's a very important thing because a lot of people blame tourism and travel for what happened in terms of how things went wrong. Unfolded. And so I want to say I don't agree. We as the industry really did our part to show that how important it is for business. So as a city, we really trying to see how we can get more businesses in the tourism and travel industry. So we're not saying it's a no-go. We're actually saying this is the space for more businesses to come into so that we can grow the business ecosystem, develop more skills. So there's going to be a strong focus on skills development, the recruitment of people coming into the industry so that we can make it much more resilient and build in the longevity so that we can withstand future trends and shocks that will come our way. This was just one of many, and there will be more. And so we need to build in that sustainability and longevity and just do the right things. So I think as a city, this is for us a moment in time to reflect, but also to reimagine, because it is an important economic activity, and a lot of people's livelihoods depend on tourism. It's a really important industry for our city in how we position ourselves as a business city, as a go-to city for travel and trade, because I always say, you know, it's the bums on the seats when
Yep.
people fly in, but it's also the boxes in the belly
Yep.
as we export proudly Cape Town products to the rest of the world. So travel and trade goes hand in hand. And so this is our time. And also to make sure that Cape Town connects with other destinations. You know, that's an important thing. We're in a global village. So going forward, the city-to-city agreements where we work with other cities in getting that demand flowing both ways so that we can really stimulate the industry as a whole just to make the world a better place. So yeah, thanks very much for the
Thank you
opportunity to
so
chat to you.
much.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, James. Carol, what are your closing remarks?
Yeah, I think just to sort of remind everybody that this is an African event, and it's really exciting that we've got so many of our African countries that are participating with us, and our Indian Ocean islands. So we have Seychelles, we have Mauritius, but it's really exciting. There's lots of, I think, so much to explore on the African continent, and I think when people arrive in our virtual event and the buyers and the exhibitors, I'd like to sort of encourage them to go to the content sessions to make sure they're looking at all the products that's available, because the content is amazing. And I think, you know, we can all do with learning of how to work in this environment that we're in. And, you know, and I think some of our masterclasses will do just that, will assist them. So, yeah, we're excited. We're looking forward to the event, and we're looking forward to welcoming everybody.
Fantastic. Well, I certainly hope this has excited you to watch all the content that we have prepared for you. In the words of James, let's lead from the front as a tourism industry. So we hope that the content that has been prepared will help you learn, unlearn, and relearn for the near future. Again, thank you, James. Thank you to you
Thank
as well,
you.
Carol. My name
Thanks.
is Tamin
Thanks, Carol.
Galimeng. It's been a pleasure.